Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making Simon's chocolate protein cake from the Firefly Cookbook. The ingredients we're going to need for the cake are 1 cup of flour, a half of a cup of cocoa powder, 1 15-ounce can of chickpeas that I've drained and rinsed, a half of a cup of sugar, 3 eggs, 8 tablespoons or 1 stick of melted butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and a half of a teaspoon of salt, as well as 2 tablespoons of hot water. When we go to make the frosting, I will give you the ingredients for it then. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is move some of these ingredients out of our way, and I'm going to start by dumping my chickpeas into this so I can puree them with an immersion blender. I'm also going to be adding in about half of the butter and our hot water, and I'm also going to add in our 3 eggs. Now, using my immersion blender, I'm going to go ahead and puree this until it's smooth. Alright, now that I've got the chickpeas and eggs pureed, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in the remainder of my ingredients, starting with the butter. Next, I'm going to add in our cinnamon, baking soda, and salt, as well as the sugar, the vanilla, and the cocoa powder. And now all we need to do is incorporate these ingredients. Let me move my vinegar out of the way before I knock it over. And while I'm doing this, I would like to remind you of the Gamers and Geeks playlist that J.P. Death and I have going on our channels. It's a community-driven playlist made up of you, our friends, and YouTube family. If you would like to be a part of it, it's really easy. All you have to do is go out and make a cooking video, and then once you've done that, post it to your channel, and then let either JPIC or I know in the comments section of our latest cooking videos. Or if you're a part of our Discord servers, you can let us know over there as well. The only thing we ask, guys, is that you do mention the Gamers and Geeks playlist somewhere in your video, as well as leaving a link to it, and that way we can just continue to support everybody who's already contributed to the list. Alright, and now that this is well combined, I'm going to go ahead and add in our 1 cup of flour. And I'm going to stir this in as well. Alright, now that I have this completely combined, I've gone ahead and lightly buttered a 9-inch square pan and then lightly dusted it with some cocoa powder. If you want, you could also do this in a round pan, and if you want this as a stacked cake, you would definitely want 2 smaller round sized pans for that. The last thing we're going to do before we put our batter into our pan is add in our vinegar and then stir this in. Now that I have this in the pan and completely smoothed out, I'm going to go ahead and transfer this into a 350-degree oven where I'm going to allow it to bake for about 25 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the middle comes out clean. And I will bring you back once it's out of the oven and it's time to make the icing. Alright guys, our cake is out of the oven and it's completely cooled down, so it's time to make the icing. The ingredients we're going to need for it are 8 tablespoons or 1 stick of melted butter, a half a cup of cocoa powder, a half a cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and about 3 cups of powdered sugar. First thing we're going to do is take our cocoa powder and place it in a bowl and combine it with our melted butter, and then we're going to stir this until it forms a thick paste. Now that I have this combined, I'm going to go ahead and start by adding in a little bit of the powdered sugar and stirring this in, as well as a little bit of the milk. Make sure you get all of the powdered sugar lumps mixed out as you're doing this, and then I'm going to continue to alternately add in the remaining powdered sugar with the milk. Alright, now that we have the icing together, the last thing I'm going to add is the vanilla extract, and then we'll be ready to frost our cake. Alright guys, at the last minute there I decided to use my electric mixer just to go in and make sure I got all of the powdered sugar lumps out of it. Now all we need to do is ice it. And I did put a little bit of parchment paper down underneath just the edges of the cake, just to keep all the extra icing off of my plate. Alright guys, there we go. It's completely iced, and I will say this recipe makes way more icing than what you actually need for the cake. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm sure we'll find something to put it on. Alright, let me get the plate cleaned up and we'll get a slice and see what we think about it. Alright guys, I've got it all plated up, so let's go ahead and see what it tastes like. I will say this is a lot denser than what I thought it was going to be, but that's most likely due to the chickpeas that we added. It is extremely moist. I really like the flavor. The vinegar kind of helped boost the chocolatiness of it. The cinnamon, I don't taste it. The underlying taste that I get is actually coconut, which is really weird because there's no coconut in here. Overall, I will definitely make this cake again, but I will be cutting the icing in half as it is way too much for this cake. So yeah, I definitely do recommend this one. Another good recipe from the Firefly Cookbook. If you guys have enjoyed this video, leave me a comment down below. If you guys tried this recipe out, let me know how it turns out for you. Remember to check out the Gamers and Geeks playlist. I will leave links to it as well as my other Firefly cooking videos down in the description below. And as always, thank you all so very much for joining me today. I've been Vault Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.